especially since, you know, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never
some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing insiders have exposed Canelo Alvarez for allegedly using steroids ahead of his fight with Terence Crawford, sparking concerns about his sudden muscle growth in previous failed drug tests. David Benavidez also weighed in, questioning why Canelo avoids facing him if he's truly confident. He highlighted that 5 members of Canelo's team tested positive for steroids, claiming the entire camp is compromised, including Canelo himself. These accusations add more fuel to the fire surrounding the upcoming bout.
Greatest Mexican boxing fights of all time, you know, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, you know, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never got off
You
the
think
steroids.
he's on steroids?
Of course. Sure.
How
does 5?
You saw De La Hoya
How do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids? You know what I mean? No, all those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight, so we made a joke. He said like he came to watch me the fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think he's?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about?" He's like, "Are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight?" In his head, Eddie Reynoso was like, "Fuck no, we not fighting him."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money. It's not about the money.
Yeah, but okay,
100 million, dude. You think you kidding me?
The first step, when you're a fucking warrior, bro, the only thing you think about is glory. I've never thought about money. I've been smart. I'm negotiating my shit, but it's always a prize, bro. It's always, if I go out there and beat Canelo, bro, I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any type of money.
And I think that separates you too, David. And I admire that shit about you. I was like that at one point. Now it's like, how much you giving me?
Yeah.
and not to just bypass him. Shout out to Morel as well.
Yeah, shout out to Morel.
To be
Eddie Reynoso's gym is under heavy scrutiny amid claims that he personally provides fighters with performance-enhancing substances. Canelo Alvarez, who trains under Reynoso, has faced steroid allegations twice before. Critics point out that multiple fighters from the same gym have tested positive, casting doubt on the training environment. As Canelo prepares to face Terence Crawford, many are questioning how he's managed such rapid muscle gains.
Addressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero has said, certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not going to get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not, if by 55 years old, I'm not, the only way I'm going to get up to 260 of muscle is if I'm juicing.
Experts note that gaining significant muscle naturally in your 30s is extremely difficult. Yet, Canelo's current physique appears noticeably larger than before. This has only intensified speculation, especially given the history linked to Reynoso's camp. Fans and analysts alike are starting to wonder if Canelo's transformation is natural or performance-enhancing drugs are quietly influencing major fights once again.
If for a 30-year-old, right, you remember, your body grows, men's body can grow in height and length up until to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's recent comments about Canelo Alvarez have stirred serious debate in the boxing world. As a longtime commentator on physical performance and combat sports, Rogan pointed out how unusual it is to see someone in their 30s bulking up so rapidly. He emphasized that natural muscle growth slows significantly with age. Yet, Canelo seems to defy that trend. For Rogan, it's not just suspicion, it's science. Such a sudden transformation is nearly impossible without assistance. When someone of Rogan's stature raises doubts, the boxing community listens.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices. But I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like Triple G.
There's a lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, he definitely got busted once for something, but it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that, we should probably leave them the alone and let them do whatever they want to do. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? Right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on fire.
As the Canelo versus Terence Crawford fight approaches, talk of steroid use is growing louder among fans and analysts alike. Many say they wouldn't be shocked if Canelo was caught using performance-enhancing substances. The reasoning is simple. He has access to the best facilities, nutritionists, doctors, and recovery tools money can buy. When unlimited resources and motivation to stay on top collide, the temptation to take shortcuts becomes very real. Critics believe Canelo's environment offers every opportunity to use banned substances with little immediate consequence.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak and is going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to everything.
Floyd Mayweather has never shied away from speaking his mind, especially when it comes to Canelo Alvarez. He has raised a steroid issue before, saying people are simply too afraid to address it. According to Floyd, there's a double standard in boxing where some fighters get a pass while others face harsh scrutiny. He believes Canelo falls into that protected category. Mayweather argues that many in the industry, promoters, broadcasters, and fans alike, avoid questioning Canelo due to his marketability and status. But Floyd isn't afraid to speak out. He stresses that steroid use isn't just cheating. It's dangerous and threatens the integrity of the sport.
But what we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. Y'all don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
Leading up to the Canelo versus Crawford fight, accusations haven't only come from analysts. Fans from both camps are fiercely debating steroid allegations. Crawford supporters question Canelo's size and power, while Canelo's fans doubt Crawford's endurance and weight class transformation. The tension has escalated so much that both fighters agreed to undergo thorough drug testing before the bout. These tests aren't just to satisfy officials. They're meant to reassure the public. The fact that both sides felt pressure to prove their clean status speaks volumes about the current trust issues in boxing. While fans remain passionate, they also demand transparency, and the ongoing steroid debate has forced teams to respond.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random VADA testing in order to silence each other's fanbase and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of lately. Namely, Crawford's sudden bulk and jump to 168 and his close relationship with Snack and Victor Conti, and of course the recent PED scandals being associated with Team Canelo, as well as him once testing positive for clenbuterol 7 years ago due to contaminated meat. With that said, both men have been doing random testing since June and will undergo strict and consistent random tests up until they finally meet next month. Now, it's worth remembering that despite all the recent allegations for Canelo and Crawford, both fighters have been consistent.
Canelo Alvarez wasn't always the powerhouse he is today. Early in his career, he was smaller, quicker, and fought more like a natural welterweight. Over the years, however, his transformation has been dramatic. Now, he's not only fighting bigger opponents, he's overpowering them. This shift has fueled waves of speculation about how he bulked up so effectively. Critics question whether such growth is natural, especially given his age and the sport's physical demands. While some credit elite training and discipline, others remain skeptical.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo because, like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down. And Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe. And he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm up fight. At like 60 or like at least at 60, just to get his body, to fill into somebody a little bit bigger. And things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now. But I think he should just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Nico Ali Walsh, a rising boxing talent and Muhammad Ali's grandson, shared insights on Crawford's preparation for facing a bigger, stronger opponent like Canelo. Walsh emphasized that Crawford isn't blindly stepping into a size disadvantage. He's preparing carefully and strategically. Crawford has been sparring with much larger fighters to adjust to the power and pressure Canelo brings. Walsh sees this approach not only as brave, but smart. He believes that turning risk into opportunity is what separates great fighters from good ones. By tailoring his training to match Canelo's strengths, Crawford is sharpening the tools he'll need most in the ring.
People with Canelo before Canelo's last fight, but then after Canelo's last fight, it seems like it's more 50-50 now. So everything is just the build up for that fight is just going to be absolutely magnetizing. Like that fight, it's garnered so much more buzz after Canelo's last fight, and Bud is Bud. He's one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. He is one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Have you sparred any of them?
I haven't sparred Bud yet. I haven't been in Canelo's camp. I've met Canelo a few times. I love Canelo's team. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are, in your opinion?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow boxing. You can see it.
Respected boxing journalist Dan Raphael explained why Crawford is taking this fight. For him, it's not about chasing money. It's about chasing history. Rafael says Crawford wants to be remembered not just as a champion, but as a legend who took the biggest risks. This is a safe matchup. It's a legacy-defining one. But Rafael also acknowledges the huge challenge ahead. Beating Canelo demands more than skill. It requires near perfection. Every mistake could cost Crawford the fight. From ring IQ to physical durability, everything must be flawless.
I think Terence Crawford is a marvelous boxer, arguably the best in the world, pound for pound. But can you hurt Canelo? If you can't hurt him, I have no doubt he can outbox him. My issue is, if you can't hurt him, what kind of a challenge can you truly pose? What do you say to that?
No, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez has a historically great chin. Now, I go back way back when he first came to the United States and started boxing, and he found himself on an HBO pay-per-view undercard years and years ago, fighting against the older brother of the great Miguel Cotto. His name was Jose Miguel Cotto, and he had gotten a ton of hype. He had signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and a lot of those of us in the media, and I had seen him a couple of times before that. This is my first time seeing him in person, really paying close attention, and he almost got knocked out in the first round. And I remember Stephen A., all of us looking around at Media Row going, what the heck is this all hype about? This man can't take a shot. He's going to get drilled. He was lucky that the fight was over, that the round was over in round one, or there might have been some much more trouble. Stephen A., that was 16, 17 years ago. I've never seen him wobbled, rocked, physically, visibly hurt since then. He has an all-time great chin going in the ring with tremendous punchers. Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes, do any damage. Yeah, he's a slick boxer, and he's also a good puncher in the welterweight division, in the junior welterweight division, in the lightweight division. But even at junior middleweight, which is where Terence Crawford had his most recent fight back in August, when he moved up and he won a world title, he didn't blow the doors off. He fought a very tough, solid opponent named Israel Madrimov. He gave him a good fight. It was very close. Madrimov's people seem to think he might have even been able to edge it out. But if you can't hurt an Israel Madrimov at 154, what the heck are you going to do with Canelo Alvarez, the sturdiest guy in the world, at 168? So that aspect of it is certainly a problem. You mentioned about Charlo. Charlo was there to get his check. I know one thing about Terence Crawford. He's not going to just come to turn up to get the check. He'll at least try. And Charlo, I don't think, really tried.
What sets Terence Crawford apart is his ability to control fights without relying on brute strength. He breaks opponents down with timing, skill, and intelligence. Whether fighting orthodox or southpaw, Crawford dictates the pace and forces his opponents to adapt. This versatility makes him a nightmare for power-based fighters like Canelo. While Canelo may have the edge in size and raw strength, Crawford's mastery of distance and movement levels the playing field. His strategy will likely focus on avoiding risky exchanges and exploiting Canelo's slower footwork. Crawford's finesse isn't just a style, it's a weapon. Against a knockout artist like Canelo, staying out of danger while scoring clean shots is essential. His unpredictability is something Canelo struggles to handle.
Weight bullies, it's somebody whose style is based around being the bigger guy, being the stronger guy. But Crawford is a very cerebral, very technical boxer, and I think that's why I'd never really considered this before. But also, I didn't actually realize until I sat down properly and thought about this, just how much weight Crawford has been piling on when he gets into the ring after the weigh-in. And look, these are not numbers that are out of the ordinary, but he's obviously cutting himself down so much in camp from whatever his walking around weight is. And it must be muscle that he's taking off. And perhaps that's why he's only fighting once a year, because there will be some fat, of course there will be, but the dude is not overweight. The dude still looks pretty ripped from what I've seen when he's not in training camp. However, there's not that many photos of him with his top off when he's not actually in training camp. So it's really hard to tell what his body composition is when he's walking around at these big weights. But the fact is, his fight night weight was 169 let's just call it 170 pounds, which is huge, absolutely huge for a 154 pounder, especially. It's just shocked me that he's come up from 135 and now he's still putting on that much weight. He's rehydrating that much at 154. And indeed, to bring us even closer to the modern day, the thing that was posted, and again, this is the second time we've seen this, is why I'm kind of thinking there's a bit of a theme here with Crawford posting his weight when he's not actually in full training camp. On February the 9th, 2025, he posted an Instagram story and he showed himself weighing 186 pounds on a gym scale. Now, that's so much bigger than I imagined Crawford would be. I never thought this guy would walk around at 186 pounds, which for anyone who needs the conversion is just over 84 kilograms. And now look, it's not an unthinkable weight for someone, but for someone who has fought as low as Crawford has, who is generally as lean and as in shape as Crawford is, that's a lot of weight.
Marcus Brown, who has closely observed Crawford in the gym, confidently dismiss the idea that Crawford is intimidated by Canelo's size or strength. According to Brown, Crawford has long sparred with larger fighters, some built like heavyweights, and has managed the pressure well. This experience gives Crawford a level of comfort most fans don't realize. He's accustomed to absorbing bigger shots while still executing his game plan. Brown also notes that Crawford never appears flustered or panicked during these sessions. He remains calm, focused, and tactical. That mental toughness combined with preparation might be key to withstanding Canelo's power.
I'm going with Crawford. Typically fighters, they don't want to say who they want to go for because, they don't want to be biased. Yeah. And much respect to Canelo, but I'm going Bud.
Is there a particular reason why? Like, you're a guy that's moved up in weight, so you know exactly what it feels like to get hit by these bigger guys. Is that something that's going to play in the back of his head? Like,
of course,
gotta watch out.
It is, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, it's not like he just been in there, got in there with somebody bigger than him. He's always probably been sparring with bigger guys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's that boxing IQ, which William Skull didn't put up no fight, but he showed somewhat of a blueprint to get this guy, in a space where he's confused. Yeah. And he can't touch the target that's in front of him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.